What up brothers, it's Clip King returning. Welcome back to my channel for another new review. The figure I'll be reviewing today is the Hot Toys Superman from Batman vs Superman, The Dawn of Justice. Only recently released, I received it yesterday and I want to crack on and get the review done today. And I just wanted to also make it clear that although I do have the Man of Steel version of Superman, this review I pretty much want to try and do as a standalone review for the BvS version, because I will be doing a video comparing the two Supermans against each other. So I don't really want to have to keep referring back to the first version to compare it with the second. I feel that the BvS version does deserve a review of its own, and then like I say, I will move on to some other footage as well to compare, tell you which I prefer and why. So I just wanted to make that point clear before I roll on. Also as well, you're going to have to forgive me, because I wanted to do this review today and I'm in sort of two minds whether to do it, because the light that I was having problems with the other day when I was filming has finally gone. It's not a bulb problem, it is a wiring problem, so I've got to switch the bulbs at some point, but I still wanted to do this review today. I hope the lighting is not too bad, because I have brought it forward a little bit in the cabinet, so it has got 4 spotlights on it, so it should be okay, but it might not be as well lit as the review normally would be. I'm also going to say, although I don't do the source material score anymore, I would like to say at this point that I quite like Batman vs Superman. I don't think it's amazing, but I also don't think it's terrible. I will say I like Henry Cavill as Superman, although in this film I don't think they give him enough to do. He's pretty much this secondary character to me, which is a shame, because I think he is a really good Superman and he could be really amazing. I think the casting of Batman or Ben Affleck as Batman turned out to be a really good choice. I just wish they would have made it sort of an even story where Cavill would have had as much to do as well. But like I said, I do like him as a Superman. I think he's got the physique, the look, the sort of, I don't know, the sort of ditzy side as Clark Kent, but then the really stern Boy Scout feel when he's Superman. So I do really like him, like I said, but I don't think the film used him to his best potential. But anyway, let's stop chatting shit, get on and get some scores on the doors. So we'll make a start with the packaging. As you can see from the chrome sticker, I did pick up the special edition that does include the kryptonite block. I wasn't sure of that when I actually paid for it, but when it got here and it were that, I thought, oh, sound, I didn't pay too much and I got the exclusive edition, but I will come back to that when I talk about value. The most eye-catching part of the front of the box is the massive S symbol with Superman wrote across it. You see this picture of Superman there, that's pretty much the poster shot. And then you see the red on red, this camera don't pick up really well, so you might not get that. But it's the picture of Superman sort of where he lands in the crowd and they're all touching him, so it is there. You notice as well there's a little Superman here. Moving down, you get the Batman vs Superman symbol. And then the side red parts are textured like his suit. It is just a shoebox design, although it has sort of a cutaway side. As you see, the lid is a full width, moving down and gets narrower at the bottom. Really easy to put the lid on and off. The artwork is average, the box functionality is average, it is just a clam trays inside. It serves a purpose, but it's never going to blow your mind. So for that reason, I'm going to give the packaging a 3 out of 5. Moving on to an important category, the likeness. Now this is probably what I've been asked about more than any other category on this figure, and I am going to try and answer it. I will say my opinion is not the definitive opinion, I can only tell you my thoughts of it. So when I say what I've got to say, some people will still disagree, some will reference the older figure, some will reference probably other figures altogether and tell me it's not as good as Hot Toys other stuff. My thoughts are this: when I saw the prototype shots, I looked at it and I thought, yeah, that's good, because he has slightly changed, he's aged a few years, he looks even more, he's got more bulk, he's got more tone. I would think his body fat is probably lower in BvS than Man of Steel, and the biggest difference is also the hairstyle. He's gone very classic with the hairstyle, very slick back, really tight parted hair, tucked behind, very wet look, whereas the other one, he's sort of got a fuller head of hair, sort of into a DA style at the back, which made his hair look very blow-dried, let's say. A lot more, is it coiffed? I think that might be the right word, I'm not sure. This one is very stern looking, very sharp and sleek. Now, when I go back to the poster shots, I go back to the film footage, I go back to the images on Google, I don't see anybody but Henry Cavill. And if anybody calls him Henry Cavill or whatever, I call him Henry Cavill. If I'm wrong, fuck you, don't matter, that's what I'm calling him. I watched some of Dean Knight's footage over the last couple of days, and he referenced the guy who played Reed Richards from Fantastic Four. I normally agree with Dean on a lot of things, but I honestly don't see anybody but Henry Cavill in this. I think it is a really good likeness altogether. And the thing I like more than anything is the intent on the face. The sort of, he's not full on mad, but you can tell he's a little bit pissed. You can see the tension in his sort of jaw sections here, so he's really clenching, like when you're gritting your teeth together, something really fucking irks with you, and you're like, ugh. He's got that look about him. Like I said, very strong jawline. I think from every angle, I only see Superman. I think the sculpt work on the hair is amazing, although I think over time, if I am keeping this figure, I would give it a blast with the hairspray, brush some hairspray onto it to give it a really, really slick, wet look. That would be my only nitpick. It does have a dry look about it. I think the eyebrows and the slight scowl across the forehead is amazing work. I think the depth in the eyes and the intention in the eyes, again, is amazing work, very clean. I think the nose, where it sort of widens on the bridge of his nose, and then he has sort of a bit of a cock nose at the end, and by that I mean he has the sort of the end of the nose dimple. He has that, and they've captured that well. And then the shape of the mouth down into the dimple on the chin, again, they've caught it really well. I hope this camera's doing it justice. It were, by the time it came, like I said in the unboxing, I were really ready for it coming, and when it came and I opened it, I was like, oh fucking hell, nice. And it's very, very rare I do that with a figure nowadays, and when I do, it's mainly with the Gangsters Kingdom figures. Not many Hot Toys sort of blow me back a little bit, where this one did. I said I will concede to some of the people who have only seen the photos on Facebook or the bloggers' pictures or other people's in-hand shots, and they're still saying, no, I prefer the first one, blah, blah, blah. But as a representation, sculpt to the film that this comes from, I think it's nearly perfect, and I've got to be honest. So for that reason, I'm going to give it, in my mind, quite an easy 5 out of 5. I can't think of a better expression to have gone for than they did. I think the hair work, the skin texture, the depth in the eyes, the near scowl on his face, and the tension through the jaw makes me really appreciate it. And it helps a pose like that for so. You see he's got tension through his legs. He's standing on his own and managed to drape the cape behind him. He's holding his own pose, there's no stand. He's got sort of a bicep curl going on, his fist really tightly clenched, and I think if you don't think that sculpt works for a pose like that, then I don't know what you're looking at. Sometimes figures come with such a vacant stare, no pose you put them in looks appropriate. This one, nearly every pose you go for, it just looks kinda right. Rolling on to his outfit, and I feel this is another important category, and the reason I feel that is because I got a lot of questions referring to different parts of the outfit. Figures like this, I think if you do kill the outfit, or the outfit looks good but it doesn't function correctly, you're going to get a lot of hate. Or again, if it functions correctly but it looks inaccurate, you're going to get a lot of shit. Especially when it's a figure that a lot of people love, or a character that a lot of people love, should I say. So Superman or Spiderman, something like that. Fuck it up one way or another, and you're going to have a lot of angry fans. Now, I've got to say, straight out of box, I think this outfit is pretty perfect. I'm not saying it's 100% screen accurate, because I'm not anal enough to sit there and go through every bend and curve on the outfit and how it fits him here and how it fits him there. There's other things I notice before I notice any inaccuracies with the outfit. Where I will say on the first one, there was always something I weren't happy about with him. It seemed too far away from the movie for me. This one, to my eye, having seen the movie at the cinema and having watched clips and reviews on YouTube, it's definitely close enough for me, and I do love and can't think of many places they could have changed it. So let's work his way down it. Let me show you the pose. As you can see, quite in theme for flying. I'm using the new Goblin stand on a diagonal, so I've got him sort of just taking off, one hand forward, one hand curled, one knee curled, one leg straight, and then sort of the cape trapped in position behind him. So that is the pose I've gone for. So let's talk outfit. We'll start off with the blue catsuit. The material on it is awesome, and I would say is perfect for the movie. They've gone for a darker shade of blue, which I think the movie is a darker shade of blue. They've moved far away from the Christopher Reeve version of Superman, and they've come to this more modern take on it, and I really like it. They got rid of the red pants, obviously, and then they put the metallic piping on, made him look very, very muscular, got rid of the belt and everything, but still give the sort of look of a belt. But I just love the styling altogether. Now, Hot Toys have recaptured most of it really well. If you see the texture on the sort of base layer of the blue outfit as I move across it, you can see sort of rubberized layer on top of what feels kind of like lycra. Not only does it look amazing, it works amazing. When it's creased, it don't look too creased. When you want him straight upright, it seems to go back to his form because of the really good looking body that they've used underneath. It just works a treat. Like there, for example, that could have been a lot messier had they got the suit material wrong. Even there, his arms pushed all the way forward, and yet it will work around his shoulder. It doesn't restrict the articulation, and again, looks very natural. A few people asked about the cuffs because some pictures surfaced the other day where the cuffs were opening up. What I will say is the sort of rubberized piping on the suit doesn't touch on the inside of the along the seam. So I think if it would have cracked along the seam. So it is open, although the seam is very secure on mine. But I did see the pictures where it had split. Again here, neat work. It sort of separates just on the outside of the seam, but then on the outer part of the gauntlet, looks really nice. I will say as well, the fine detail sort of along there, they're all separate sections, just really good work. Another thing that took me out when I got it is around the bicep on the suit, the pattern changes. So you see sort of like a tribal band around his bicep. I hope the camera's picking that up because I ain't got best look of the viewfinder at this. And that is on both sides, so I do like that also. Moving down to the midsection, the abs are looking shredded, as you can see. And the piping, they've gone for like a baby blue metallic with a yellow effort for the or the yellow highlight for the belt, and that is supposed to represent the belt buckle, I think. Again, look at the detail on it, really well done. It's like there's no stone unturned with this one. It's like they practiced on the first version and they thought, right, on this second version we're going all log, and that's what they've seemed to do. Coming down the leg again, the metallic piping works really nicely. The leg's tightly folded, as you can see on that leg, straight on this leg. Again, the piping catches the light really nicely. Moving down to the boot. Now, my boots are attached, and I'm assuming everybody's is to the under material. So when you rotate the boot, the sort of V section at the front of the boot will rotate with the blue part of the outfit. So sometimes I've seen some where the V don't line up with the knee. It's just a case that you need to turn the material back. I will highlight that in another pose. The boots in general are really good. The articulation inside is really nice. One of the nitpicks I did have with this figure, and I'll mention it now and I'll probably come back to it on the articulation, is I think his legs are a little bit short, and that is still the case. I thought to myself, when I get it, no problem. What I'll do is I'll pop the boot off, I'll put in a longer ankle peg. There you go. It'll be a touch taller, but still in theme with what I think Batman's height will be when he comes out. And there'll be no problem. It'll be the correct height, correct leg length, and it'll be in proportion. You can't actually do that because the boot is attached. But what I will say is the articulation inside here is really good, but sometimes gives you a slight crease here on the boot. Bearing in mind my boot is sort of toe pointed down, so it's opened up. If I put the boot up, you will get a more obvious crease there. I will also say the articulation mechanism inside, when I first turned my boot toe down, the foot came off the leg, but it did just click straight back into place really easily. Although it didn't feel like there was an ankle peg inside there, so I don't know what the mechanics are on the ankle, but whatever they've done, it's a right touch because you get good forward and back motion, it holds it, and you also get very good ankle pivot, and like I said, the boots don't hinder it at all. So the outfit is awesome. Moving up to the emblem, I think they've gone correct width. It's nearly the full width of the chest. It catches the light amazingly, which the original version didn't do until I sort of put the metallic overwash on mine. I think the red on yellow or red on gold, whatever you want to say, it just works really well. It pops, catches the light really nicely. And like I said, the suit all in all is pretty perfect. Biggest questions are asked, cape. Now, I'm going to show you. The cape obviously is draped along the flight pole, as you see. Now, what I will say is this. The collar and how the cape is attached, to me, is outstanding. The piping around it, the pleats stay in the collar section really nicely. The material of the cape is possibly the best Hot Toys cape I've felt. I wish Thor's were like that and the other Supermans were like that out the box. It's really good. It sort of represents a Tony May cape really well, although it's double ply. Now, you're always going to get this trade-off with a cape. Some will say, I want it to drape naturally when he's stood. I agree with that, but I want to be able to pose it when he's flying. Now, if you can tell me a way that they can do that, then you'd be telling me something I don't know. I don't think there's any way to get a natural drape and a posable cape because the wire makes it look unnatural. So you're never going to get a natural drape with a wired cape. So it's which do you want? Now, I like the drape on this cape and I won't be changing this cape because the material is perfect. Although there's no wire in the bottom or in the cape at all, so I would never be able to pose it like that. That is a stock cape on that version, but I did wire across the bottom. Now, like I said, I still don't know which version I'm keeping. If I were to keep this, I would be very tempted to wire across the bottom of my cape because, like I said, the material's perfect. It is double ply, so it would allow me to use the same technique to put the wire through the bottom of the cape so that if I were to have him gliding, the cape would have movement in it representing the wind rushing through it. Where this, I'm pretty much using a technique where I'm trapping it between the feet and the pole and using the drapes, the swags to try and make it look natural. So, like I said, the cape is perfect, but it's a trade-off. Do you want the posability or do you want the natural swag? They went for the natural swag and they've done it awesomely. For that reason and every other point I've made, I'm going to give the outfit a 5 out of 5. Right, rolling on to the articulation and the body in general, because on this I'm taking into account how does it function, how does it look, what does it make the suit do, so on and so forth. And even on this one, proportions. Because I will say, when I saw the early release shots of this, the body proportions and scale were my biggest nitpick. I were okay with the head sculpt, I were okay with the outfit. It was just a case that few pictures I looked at, I kept looking and thinking, his legs are too short. And I couldn't understand it because I knew they'd not reused the same body. Now, I'll say it like this. First things first, the first version of Superman was oversized. No two ways about it. You stood it outside of a Terminator or an Iron Man or Captain America. There was just too much size difference between them. It just towered everybody. I don't know if it was to do with the length of the leg or the ankle peg or just the overall figure size. It was just too big. Out of scale on the big side. Then people compare that one to this one and say, well, this one's too small. What have they done? Now, this is what my thoughts are. I think when the Batman comes out, I think they will possibly use the same body, or I think they will definitely be in perfect scale to each other. So if they would have left it the same body as the first version, firstly people would have said you've just reused same body, and secondly they would have said, well, he's too big now, it makes Batman look like a fucking midget. So that's why I feel that Hot Toys have done it. As soon as I took it out of the box, I thought, brand new body. You can tell the bulk on the shoulders, the pronounced ab section, the bigger bicep section, the bigger forearms, definitely bigger on the quadriceps or the thigh, whatever you want to call it. And then sort of even more bulk through the calf down into the foot. Now, because it's so bulky and because some of the shots, the suit sometimes rides down. So if you've got a crutch grab stand, there's probably half a centimetre of suit there that's not right up to the body. So I feel that if you push the suit right up into his crotch, what it will do, it will stretch out the material through the boot, push it right up, tight over his thighs, and then into his crotch area. It will make the legs look longer. But even doing that, I still think from the waistband up, I think the body looks and acts perfectly. From the waist down, I think it's just a tiny bit, and I'm talking maybe half a centimetre too short in the legs, and that is emphasised by the bulk in the upper thigh. It does look awesome, I will be honest, and when it's flying and his toes are pointed down, it obviously visually lengthens his legs. It gives the appearance that his legs are longer than they are, but when he's in an upright position, it just seems too small from foot to waist compared to waist to top of his head. Another thing that sort of throws it out is sometimes when the head is all the way up, like it is here now, in a very hero pose, it looks a little bit giraffe neck. That's because of the low cut collar. The proportions on the shoulder to the neck for me are pretty good. In fact, perfect, I would say. But I think to get away from the appearance of the sort of giraffe neck, I think you're better off posing him head down. That gets away from the giraffe neck look. But like I say, my nitpicks were in the length of the legs. I straight away thought, there's no way I can leave it like that. I'm going to pull the boots off, put a longer ankle peg in. That'll make it near perfect. It's not as bad as I thought, because like I said, push the suit up into the crotch and it makes it look awesome. I think it looks fucking awesome anyway. And every time I get near it and the light from the camera sort of picks up on the metallic section, look at it just brushing over his abs, onto his pecs and onto his badge. Suit reacts fucking awesome. And even the muscle definition underneath, it is really nice in hand, I've got to be honest. So on the articulation, because I think the scale is a nat's bollock art, I'm gonna, do I give it a 4 or do I still give it a 5? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give it a 4, and that's also because of the bulky joints and because of the biceps. You don't get a tight curl in the arm, you do get a nice curl on the knees, you do get rotation and ab crunch, good articulation on the neck, the hands pop on and off really nicely, and the feet are a right touch of genius. But I'm just going to knock it down to a 4 out of 5 because it's not 100% true type perfect articulation. But that is it's a fucking cheeky little pose, that one for you. Rolling on to extras and accessories. What does he bring? Just moving first. You see, I've got him cornering, he's back on his own stand. Now this time he's got the left leg up, the right leg sort of pointed away, and he's got his arms out sort of glider mode, and his head's dictating the way he's going to be flying. So he's coming round here, he is. Boom. Right, main extra that he brings is this new style pop-up Batman vs Superman stand. I do really like it. I think the paintwork on it is really nice. It's got the sort of volcano look in the sunk sections of the letter. It is obviously the S on the bat, and it will drop down into place. Very nice. So you could have him stood up on it, and obviously the screw-in flight pole allows him to be flying or gliding. It does have the metallic nameplate on the front and is a right nice touch. The set of wrist pegs, and then you get 3 sets of spare hands. Very same as a lot of hands we've seen before. Moving across, the special edition brings the kryptonite, which is really nicely done, very bright as you see, good sculpt work. The button on the bottom does look nice even with the light off, but like I said, when the light's on, really bright. They do supply the batteries for that, but you do have to fit them yourself. And then moving across to the accessory, the instruction booklet, which doesn't really tell you a lot other than don't remove the suit and lift his head before turning it. Standard stuff. but again, it's worth a read if you don't want to damage your figure. Now, it's not a lot, obviously, you don't need me to tell you that. I'm going to score it a 3 out of a possible 5, so I've given it 1 for the base, 1 for the hands, 1 for the kryptonite. What more could it have brung? Well, it could have come with the setup for a Clark Kent, if that's what you wanted to do, but that would have been then very costly. Other than that, the only other thing I can think of would be a standing base. So your standard generic base with the Batman vs Superman decals on it, or even just an interchangeable pole, a pole that will screw into there and just become a crutch grab stand. Some people don't want him flying, they want him stood in a museum pose. If Hot Toys would have given you the option, it will save you having to buy them yourself. What they've given you is nice, but they haven't given you a lot. So like I said, the extras, I've given it a 3 out of a possible 5. I'm going to roll straight onto value and say, I don't know if I were lucky with this figure or what. I asked around for a contact in Hong Kong, and I got one. The guy's name was given to me. Now, I'm not sure I can share that at the moment, so please don't ask. When I decide to, or when I'm told I can, I will do so, but not until then. I got it for a really good price, and I think better than I would have got it from the other Hong Kong sellers. And also, the fact he could find one were a really big help to me. It came really fast. There's not only one person who can send you figures in 2 days. Apparently, anybody can do it. The price was very nice, I've got to be honest, and got to say thank you again. And when I compare it to the fact that some eBay sellers had got it on for $250 and upwards, even up to, I think I saw one just underneath £300, including shipping other day, I'm thinking, fucking, I'm going to pay fruit nose for this figure. The honest truth is, I didn't. I paid a reasonable price, and I'm really glad of that. So on the price I paid, and I will be honest and say, I've checked some UK prices, and the price I paid is only a couple of quid more. That's the honest truth for it. So I think the fact that I've got it sort of day after the release and I've paid a nice price for it, I'm going to give the value of mine a 4 out of 5. If you can get it for less, if you can get it, let's say if you can get it for less than 200, you get a 4 out of 5. If you can get it for less than 180, give yourself a 5 out of 5. 200 and upwards, just start working your way down. That is what I would say on the value. But like I said, on mine, I'm going to score it as I paid, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of a possible 5. That gives the score, the figure, an overall score of 24 out of a possible 30. I don't know how that compares to the Man of Steel. Please go back and have a look, and then you can sort of pick that review apart and tell me what I scored one compared to the other. But what I will tell you is, I don't see that you've got to pick one or other, to be honest. If you want a representation from Man of Steel, you pick that one. If you want a representation from Batman vs Superman, then you pick this one. It's as simple as that. Obviously, you're going to be able to get a Man of Steel version cheaper now because this one's just come out. If you don't want to pay the price on this one at the moment for the special edition, then you wait a few weeks and you get the normal version. What I would say is, don't drag this figure down to make the other figure that you've got look good. Respect them both for what they are, and then I think you'll get into a few less arguments. Like I said, coming up there will be a comparison, but the next video I'll do will answer the questions that I asked people to send me about this figure. So again, you will see a whole lot of new posers, and I will answer questions, give you name checks. That'll probably be up tomorrow. But thanks for watching me again. Please like, comment and subscribe. But for now, this is Clipper King, and I'm out of here.